Hey Reddit, what are some company secrets you can reveal for a company you no longer work for? I worked at a luxury movie theater for 3 years, complete with service to your seat, oversized recliner seats, pillows and blankets. The pillows and blankets were never washed, ever, but the break room was stocked with brand new ones. Always ask for a new blanket. This is about a decade old, so may no longer be applicable, but Microsoft has special pricing for non-profits that is about 1/10 the regular price. They don't advertise this, so a lot of resellers still sell the software to their non-profit customers at the regular price and enjoy the higher profit margin. Verizon retail employees, and probably call center sales reps, are actively encouraged to lie to you to close the sale. I worked at Great Clips. The stylists are strongly advised to only cut a client's hair between 10-15 minutes. If the stylist's average haircut time is more than 15-17 minutes, they might get talked to by the manager about speeding up their services or written up if it continues to happen. Stylists also get paid based on how fast and how many clients they have that day. If a person comes in with a long, tangled rat's nest and wants a complicated haircut that takes you an hour to deal with, they can duck up your timed average for the day and duck your pay. Come to Walmart Deli after 7 to 8 PM. We mark everything down. You're welcome. I worked at NASA as a contractor for 2 years. 90% of the computing hardware was very antiquated and out of date. I saw a lot of Dell computers from the mid-2000s still being used. Yes, even pre-thin style monitors. That beige or off-white color. They are pretty underfunded and spend most of their money on more advanced hardware like supercomputers, large servers, etc. But the basic hardware is really out of date. In fact, the whole place looked like a museum of the 1990s. The architecture, the dress styles, the lighting, carpet, and so on. It was very strange, almost eerie. Worked in several chain restaurants through college as a cook. Nothing to report that you probably haven't heard already, but I can tell you, most of the things you've been warned about are true. But the best thing I can tell you is, don't go to a restaurant within 30 minutes or so of its closing time. The cooks have already cleaned in an attempt to go home. At best you're getting the scraps left on the counter. At worst, well, you've pissed off the cooks. Oh, and I cooked at Hooters. They literally train the waitresses on how to flirt with customers. No, they don't like you. In fact, if you're a particularly odd looking or annoying customer, they tell the other waitresses about you and they look at you through the kitchen windows and mock you. I am in Mexico and used to work at call centers. They would ask us to always state we were located in the US. I worked for Comcast and Sprint Nextel, but there were some other campaigns such as HP Tech Support or AT&T or Verizon. I ran the lens lab at a Pearl Vision back in the day. The most expensive frames we carried, the ominous, cost us about $20 and cost you $400 to $600. The most expensive lenses, outside of real ophthalmic specialties, what we called MTPROAs, polycarbonate aspheric with anti-glare, anti-scratch, cost them less than $20 and cost you $400. So a $1,000 pair of Armani glasses with all the bells and whistles, it cost about $40. The lab guy who made it was making $12 HR. The lab itself, top of the line from Essilor, was about $250 K. Peanuts compared to the profit margin. All staff, even just sales staff, had to wear lab coats and glasses at all times. If you didn't need glasses, you just wore glasses with zero prescription. The company would provide you outright with an eye exam every year, and once per year with a pair of prescription glasses and prescription sunglasses. Top of the line as long as they were in style that year. That was actually a cool perk. Oh, this was one of my favorites. In Maine, at the time, Medicare wouldn't cover anti-scratch coating for adults. All of our CR39, the basic plastic lens, super easy to scratch, just came with that pre-applied. We were actually supposed to intentionally strip that coating for Medicare customers, costing us time and labor while depriving the customer. 99% of the time we just didn't bother. Handyman here. We left chocolate out in display cases for months on end. When my friends came by to the store, I told them to avoid it at all costs. Panera Bread, all of the soups, all of them come in frozen and in plastic bags. Glassdoor.com does remove job reviews and does let employers choose which ones get shown first. I used to work in financial services. Agents would sell products based on the commission and not on how well the investment actually performed. Our customer service department was pretty much always taking calls from people who had been deceived about what to expect from their investment. I work for the post office now, and I will honestly say I have never worked with such hardworking people before. There are problems with managers expecting you to get things done quicker than humanly possible, and a lot of our equipment is old and falling apart. But I honestly feel like the vast majority of my coworkers are trying to take care of our customers and to just get home safely. I worked at Target and PetSmart for some time, and they both had this weird policy about stealing that I've heard applies to most big chains. Basically, a regular employee could not stop a low price thief. Obviously we can't let someone just walk out with a TV or live animal, but I was forbid from doing anything about small shoplifters. It's bad for the image of the store, and if you happen to be wrong, there could be a lawsuit or discrimination accusation that could cause a lot of trouble. So most of the times they just let you walk out fully knowing you stole something. At PetSmart, I happened to be working the register when a customer came up and alerted me that there was someone stealing a bunch of dog shampoo and shoving it in her purse. The location didn't have many employees and all the beauty supplies were kept way at the back. I called my supervisor over and she said not to do anything when the lady came to ring up one very small thing. The shampoos were very noticeably sticking out of her bag. My supervisor asked if she needed to pay for them and the person said no, and we just let her walk out. Apparently if we think someone's stealing we're supposed to nice it out of them. If not, oh well. It's a chain store, so it's not like losing this merchandise is such a big deal, I suppose. Worked call center for Sprint Nextel. This was before smartphones, so tech support and customer support were relatively simple. 1. Staff turnover was so high that you couldn't get fired no matter how bad a CSR you were. If you turned up on time and sat at your desk the entire shift, no one gave a shit. 2. Sometimes the exorbitant wait times were due to only having 2 people on shift for the entire network. Sometimes they were because CSRs would keep the line open after a customer disconnected to avoid taking another call. 3. The security identification system means jacket. If you've ever had an ex-stalker or anyone turn up where you live after thinking they couldn't possibly know, blame the lazy CSR who ignored the warning notes and security protocol and gave all your information away. 4. When they say they're going to put you on hold, but there's no music, you're actually muted and we can hear everything you say. 5. Customer service, billing and tech support were all the same people. Tech support was a roulette of good, knowledgeable people. 6. We used to have access to customers' online accounts for tech support needs, but we could also see any texts or old school MMS messages. 7. All calls are recorded. All of them. They're all stored for an indeterminate amount of time in case there's a legal need for it. Worked at PetSmart. I was actually told by a manager that it wasn't my responsibility as a goddamn pet care associate to tell people things like a plecto, an algae-eating fish that grows a foot, was inappropriate for a 10-gallon tank. I don't know if it was that particular PetSmart or if they're all like that, but they definitely prioritized profit margin over animal welfare. You have people like me who actually give a shit, but it's just a few of us against a tidal wave of ignorance and straight up negligent malice. I'd be curious what other PetSmart workers have experienced. Please chime in. AT&T's customer service call center is run out of Canada. They made us say we were in the US, so I said I was in Detroit because it was across the river. Champs Restaurants. The flavor in the seasoned sour cream you can't figure out is curry powder. I worked at an independent gym, but at most gyms the sign-up special is only there to mark up the perceived value of the membership. It's to convince you to buy into it with the idea that you're getting a special discount. The reality is that the original price doesn't actually exist and the deal or discount you get doesn't actually expire. It's just the standard membership rates that everybody is paying. Being a butcher, I found out that a lot of things you're told to do goes against food hygiene. Bit of meat fell on the floor, pick it up and give it a wash. Meat hit that point, it can't be in the window. Mince it. Chicken will go bad tomorrow. Kebab it. Just after Christmas we had a load of extra bacon that we didn't sell and was taking ages to go. It got to the point where the bacon was sticky and started growing mold fur. I was told to scrape off the mold fur and put it in the window for display. The joints and the sausages were hung up with rusted hooks and put me way off. The butchers got top cleanliness ratings for some reason. Companies that deal with commercial truck driving licenses often have their drivers fudge the logbook numbers to make it look legal. I worked for the Northwest Company in northern Canada. The inner cart that they sell for hundreds or thousands of dollars they buy for $10.20 from the artist. I asked a manager why. He said it's because they're poor anyway. I quit that evil company the next week. From working at MCD's for 4 years. When you get breakfast we have a substitute button. You can change any meat for any meat and any eggs for any eggs. Any bread for any bread. My fav is to get the big breakfast with hotcakes. Switch the sausage for crispy chicken. Switch the biscuit for a bagel. Switch the scrambled eggs for egg whites. Comes with 2 round whites. It is the same price. The chicken and bagel are larger than sausage and biscuit. And keep an eye on how you make your meals. A Big Mac meal and 2 cheeseburgers is cheaper than a 2 cheeseburger meal and a Big Mac. Staples, and probably some other stores. They price match as long as the product is shipped and sold by Amazon. You can get many great deals at a convenient location. Always check for prices on Amazon because I can guarantee a lot of stuff there is overpriced. I worked at Raising Cane's for 2 years. If other stores keep up with the standards we had, there's nothing really to say. Basically the entire place was cleaned every day and I worked in the kitchen and at the counter. Even half the walls. Nothing was frozen except for the fries. The sauce and coleslaw was made in-house every day. And no food violations I can think of. Honestly a dope ass first job. One thing though, there's MSG in everything. As per my username used to work for hotels, escaped in November of 2018. Sites like Expedia can do book more rooms than the hotel physically has. You want to be sure there will be a bed for you. Book on the hotel's own website. I worked at Dunkin' Donuts, and at least at my location, all it was frozen. The free samples are the oldest donuts we have, and when serving, we pick donuts from the back of the tray, as those are the oldest. Also, my location wasn't too high volume, so we didn't switch out coffee every 18 minutes like we were supposed to. Coffee could be a few hours old. Sometimes donuts were over 5 or 8 hours old if they were a low demand kind. Reformation. Their fabric is ridiculously overpriced. Because they are marketing towards the green gal, who suddenly cares about sustainable clothing. They've duped people into ditching stores like Forever 21 because they makes their clothes with itty, synthetic fibers to a brand that makes the same quality of clothing with renewable fabrics. Also, it's a startup so the store infrastructure is jacked. Management is young. Protocol is non-existent. HR is imaginary and if any of the 20-something girls in management don't like a particular Instagram post of yours you can be fired. That mattress you bought on clearance was a return somebody slept on for up to a month or so. I worked at Domino's for 2 years. I can say that they do not care if your pizza is ruined or burned or fell on the ground. On one occasion a pizza fell top first on the ground and my manager just gave it to the customer. At Anytime Fitness, personal trainers are only required to get a AMFPT certification. It's basically a mail order degree. For insurance purposes, they can also let you out of your membership personal training contacts with a few click of a mouse with no penalties to you with them. They just don't. Savers Value Village unique thrift stores chain, and I'm assuming others, are able to get most of their stock from charities. When you donate directly yourself you are saving them the charity's transportation fee. That do all the legwork. They collect the clothing, electronics, household items in the name of their respective charities door to door or through donation boxes on the street and ship them to the store. The store would then pay a very low amount per pound, something like 3 cents a manager told me, and have employees sort rate price the product. Depending on the department, whatever didn't meet our standards for sale or didn't end up selling in 6 weeks got their version of recycled. Clothes and shoes will be sold to a third world country market. Books and disc-based media, CDs, DVDs, games, at least at my store, were sold to a guy who sold on Amazon. He was paying 30 cents LB, so imagine what he was making. If it wasn't recyclable, it ended up in a garbage can. This included everything: glass, wood, plastic, magazines, cassettes, records, photos, and cartridge-based games, until I came along. This is extremely controversial and I expect to get a lot of downvotes for this. But I worked for a major pharmaceutical company and I actually was instrumental in getting a number of drugs approved for the market. I saw my colleagues bend over backwards to present negative data to the FDA to ensure complete transparency. I wouldn't have continued working for the company if this was not the case. I also saw others in the company try to tell my colleagues that they were crazy. Close bracket. I used to work for the Better Business Bureau. We completely outdependent our sales reps, telemarketers, to sell membership to small business owners. Most reps lie about the benefits of being a member. Staff is completely underpaid and sales reps falsely document to increase sales. HR will turn a blind eye since it's HR. Best part? Most are in denial that the BBB is a racket. They truly believe the BBB is doing something worthwhile. Used to work at Best Buy. They take a small portion of laptops and do all the Geek Squad stuff to them, and put them back on the shelf with the new price with all the added junk. If the laptop sells fast, guess what's left over? And they won't give it to you at the advertised price. You had to pay more because it had been optimized. At least the store I was at wouldn't change the price if that was all we had. Strip bar middle management in a past life. 1. Strip clubs are a waste of money. The drinks are overpriced, and it will get your appetite going without satisfying it. It's like paying for a meal you don't get to eat. 2. That stripper is not in love with you. During business hours she has her sales persona on. After closing she's probably very different. They're actresses, and good ones if they are any good at their job. She's most likely a single mother, and all too often a drug addict alcoholic. 2. Part of their job is to sell drinks. No matter how many drinks you buy that stripper, she won't sleep with you. That is most likely illegal, and a good way for the club to get shut down. 2. Extras are not likely to happen outside of the sketchiest places. Also a good way to get the club shut down. 3. There are cameras everywhere, especially in the private rooms and booths. Someone is watching those. 4. If you show up with only $10 past the price of admission, your night will be short and miserable. We made fun of the obviously broke scrubs who sit around drinking the free refills on soda. You will be approached a lot asking for dances.